Hey guys, welcome back to Unbiased Magic Reviews. Today I'm doing a requested magic book review. We're going to be taking a look at In Order to Amaze by Pitt Hartling. Now this is a book on card magic, specifically memorized deck magic. I've been studying this book for the last 4 years, using routines from here, practicing routines from here, and just honing my memorized deck magic with this book. You can pick this up for $60 from Pitt Hartling. It's also being sold, I think, on a couple other places as well. And so what you're going to get here is you're going to get a book that's about 250 pages. It's got over 150 color photos to help you learn the routines. And what you can find in here is 21 routines that use a memorized stack, 17 of which are stack independent, so you can use whatever stack you like. The last 4 routines in this book are dependent on mnemonica, so if you use the mnemonica stack, then you probably would like those 4. I never studied those because I don't use mnemonica, but other people may actually enjoy those. So none of the routines in this book use any gimmicks or gaffs. They just use a regular deck of cards, but with the caveat that you have to have a memorized deck under your belt. Now, if you are just starting out in memorized deck magic, I'll tell you that this is a great tool because it will help you solidify your stack in your mind. Just practicing these routines will help you to really nail down that stack. And if you are somebody who's not interested in memorized deck magic, I would emphasize that if you do any card magic, you should consider it because it's a very valuable tool that you really would like a lot. This is Pitt Hartling's second book, and as far as I know, this is the only review here on YouTube of the material that you're going to find in this book. I feel like I really can give you guys an honest and legit review because I've been using the material in this book for the past 4 years. I'm going to give you guys an overview of what you can expect to find in here, and then I'm going to go over my favorite 5 routines that I use all the time from this book. So some basic things that you want to know about the book is the layout is that each one of these effects, he gives you a little background of the effect. He tells you what the effect is about. Then he goes over the method and the procedure on how to perform it. Finally, at the end of each effect, he has a section that's called Going Home, which shows you how you can go back into your stack. So each one of these routines, you end back in your stack. And then finally, there's a section where he tells you about the credits of the effect, and sometimes other ideas that other magicians have given him about whatever effect it is in question. Now, how difficult are these effects is probably what you're wondering, and I'll tell you they all range in difficulty from really easy, almost self-working, to really difficult. For instance, there was an effect in this book that really got a lot of attention when this first came out, and that effect was called the poker formulas. And this was talked about on the Magic Cafe a lot because in that routine, you take out a bunch of sheets that have formulas on them. You tell your spectators that they are the poker formulas, and you have them name any poker hand. You cut the deck and you can immediately deal out that poker hand, whatever it is that they're asking for, and to whatever amount of people as well. So it's a very impressive effect, and difficulty-wise, if you could do a second deal, it was really easy to do. It really wasn't difficult. So you can see that there are some effects that are very easy to perform, some that require some sleight of hand, and some that are a lot more difficult overall. So it's hard to say whether or not any one of these effects is, the difficulty of the whole book overall. It's hard to really tell you. I will tell you, though, that you really do need to be able to manage a stack well to do the effects in this book. If you are interested in memorized deck magic, I would also recommend you check out the work of Simon Aronson, Juan Tamarez, Darwin Ortiz, and as well Greg Chapman, which I actually have Greg Chapman's book over here too, which is The Devil's Staircase, and this is also a book on memorized deck magic. You should take a look at that as well. So you guys can see I never sold this book. I kept it in my own library and I still study it and use it all the time because the routines in here are really good. So I'm going to just put up here a little synopsis of a lot of the routines that you can expect to find in here and tell you a little bit about what you can expect. You're going to find effects that deal with 2 decks, impossible location effects, mind reading effects, matching effects, poker demo effects, prediction effects, transformation effects. There's even an effect where you weigh the cards. So there's all kinds of applications of the memorized deck in this book. Let's go over a couple of my favorites and I'll even show you a few demos. So the first effect in the book that I really liked a lot was called Sherlock, and that's an impossible location effect. Imagine you ribbon spread the deck, you turn your back, you have the spectator take out any card, they memorize it, they put it back anywhere else they want, they gather up the cards, they cut them, they shuffle, they cut a second time, they shuffle a second time, and yet you could still locate their card. And even after all of that shuffling, you end up back in your stack order at the end. This is a real magician fooler, and I really found it very useful for practicing my stack. When I first started out, it was very difficult. It required a lot of mental energy because you have to be able to recite your stack backwards in your head as you're doing the effect. So in the very beginning, you'll be very slow to do it. And then over time, you'll gather speed and you'll start doing without thinking. Now I can just run through it without even thinking and just speed right through it. But in the beginning, it was difficult. This effect definitely is worth learning, if for nothing else, just to help you practice to learn your stack. Very, very useful effect. I have run into 1 or 2 times where the effect didn't work, and that's because sometimes when you find the card that's out of order, you're not sure if it's the card that's out of order or if it's the one before it that's out of order. So here or there, once in a blue moon, the effect doesn't pan out the right way. The same way that if they take out a card and they put it back in the same place that they took it out from, it's obviously still not going to work out either. So that's something I do mention because I did realize that when I did perform this effect for people. So it's something that I mentioned to you guys. But that being said, definitely it's worth it just to practice to learn your stack. If you do like this, you may also want to take a look at Matt Baker's book, The Buena Vista Shuffle Club. He has a routine in there, which is called Elementary, My Dear Vernon, where he took this effect, he borrowed this effect, and he also added a triumph phase to it. And that's what that routine is. So you may want to track that down if you like this effect. The second effect in the book that I really liked a lot was called The Core. And that routine, basically you tell a spectator that at the core of every deck, there is one card. You can show them that all the cards are all in a random order. And you ask them what card they think is the core of your deck of cards. They name a card. They can name any card. And then you ask them if they know where that card is. And then you go about showing them how you can get to the core of the deck by whittling the deck down. Now I'll tell you, this is probably my favorite routine in this book. I've performed it more than any other routine in the book. And it's because it's so easy to perform. It's literally almost self-working if you know your stack. In fact, let me just show it to you, a quick demo so you can see what it looks like. Demo for the core, and what I usually do is I throw in there just a nice quick false shuffle as I'm talking to them. And then mention to them that there is a card that is at the core of every deck. And you ask them what card they think that is. So since no one's here, we're going to use the random card generator. I love this thing. And here we're going to end up with the 7 of diamonds. So we're just going to leave that out there like that. And you explain to the spectator that you can actually whittle down the deck like this by separating it. You can whittle it down. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And while I'm doing this, I usually ask them a question about the card that they selected, like if there was a reason why they like that, why they named that card of all cards or whatever. And sometimes I actually also throw in there the idea of, I say to them, well, is there any way that you think that I would know where that card is in here? And I say, look, we're going to continue whittling this down. So you just continue to do this. And then you say, all right, well, we're starting to get this down to a really small amount here. So we'll just got a little bit more to go here. And you can see it's actually really pretty quick. Say, look, we actually got this now down to one card. What was the card you said again? Oh yeah, the 7 of diamonds. So you can see the effect is really easy to perform. Okay, so you guys took a look at the core, and I'll tell you it gets really big reactions, so definitely worth learning. My third favorite routine in the book is called Thought Exchange, and this is a type of routine that's based on Al Baker's double thought effect, where your spectator thinks of a card, you think of a card, they select a card, you select a card, and you've managed to select each other's card. There's many routines that are like this. For instance, Michael Vincent put out his effect, Kismet. Paul Vigil put out his routine, Diplopia. These are all routines that are based on that same premise. In fact, if you remember when I did my review on Matt Baker's At the Table lecture, I did mention that he had a routine similar to this, but I told you guys instead you should check out the one that's in this book. This is the routine I was talking about, and the reason is because it gets huge reactions. It's very easy to perform because you're using your stacked deck almost as an open index, really. So, you know what? Let me show you what it looks like. Take a look at it. And needless to say, let's just get into the demo real quick to show you how it looks. So what you do is this. You're going to do here, you're going to say, look, here's what we're going to do. You ask the spectator, you know, you ever wonder how when a magician asks you to select a card, how you know which is the right card to select? And they're going to be like, well, you know, I don't know, whatever they're going to say, So here you say, look, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go like this, and you say stop wherever you want, and that's the card you're going to remember, okay? So you turn your head, you legitimately go until they say stop wherever it is. Let's just say that they said it stop here. You say, okay, you're thinking of a card here. And you say, look, just concentrate on your card here. And you show them that there. And you say, okay, you're thinking of a card there. I'm going to think of a card myself here in this pack. And you say, all right, I'm actually thinking of a card here in this half, and I'm gonna just spread it out here. So look, I'm thinking of a card, and you're thinking of a card. Now, concentrate on your card, okay? What I'm gonna do is this. I'm going to try to just feel where your card could be. Okay, I think this is your card right here. This is what I think. So let's just say that's the card. This is the card I think is your card. And then you ask them to, I'm going to concentrate on my card. I want you to just push it forward, whatever card you think is my card. So let's say that they push forward like this card here. So then I tell them immediately, okay, the card I was thinking of was the Jack of Hearts, and they're going to turn it over and they're going to find that that's the Jack of Hearts. And then the card that they were thinking of, which we may have to look back, I think it was 3 of something. Yeah, here we go, 3 of spades, there it is. So, and then at this point, the nice thing is that you could just turn these over and you can show that these are totally, everything looks totally random, mixed up. So they're definitely not gonna have any idea how any of this is even possible. It just looks really strange. So to get back in a stack too, it literally takes 1 second, because all you have to do is this and you're back in stack just like that. So you can see the effect is really user-friendly to get right back into your stack. I really like it a lot. Okay, so you guys took a look at it and you could see what it is, and that is my third favorite routine in this book. My fourth favorite routine in the book is called Echoes, and that's a matching effect where you are cutting to a card and then you're having your spectator make a selection, and then you do that 3 times, and then each of the 3 cards match perfectly. This is another type of matching effect that is very popular. It's done a lot, but here again you're using your stacked deck almost as an index to get to the cards that they're choosing. So it really looks great. If you do like this effect, Echoes, you also should probably check out Hartling Ong's effect called Direct Triple Prediction, which you can find in his book Principia, Or you can also find it in Genie magazine in the December issue 2016 in the Magicana section, where you're going to be predicting 3 cards ahead of time. The spectator is just randomly selecting 3 cards and they match perfectly to the predictions. And believe it or not, in that effect, you're using a memorized deck as well. He does teach another version that uses a marked deck. So for those people that want to do the routine but they don't want to memorize a stack, you can use a marked deck as well. So I just point that out to you guys in case you want to check that out. That's my 4th favorite effect. The last effect I'm going to tell you guys that's my favorite. It has to do with the section in the book which is called Quartets. And basically Pitt Hartling has borrowed Dennis Beer's idea of quartets, which he took from his work, his handcrafted card magic, which is also based on memorized deck magic as well. And the quartet principle basically is that you can very quickly get under your control any 4 of a kind that is named. So your spectator names a 4 of a kind and you could quickly cull that 4 of a kind and use it. So there's 7 routines in the book that directly are related to the quartets principle. They're all really good. Probably the one I've used the most, which is what I'm telling you is like my 5th favorite effect in the book, is called the Chosen, because you have the spectator name any 4 of a kind, then you tell them, okay, well, I'm gonna have you touch 4 random cards. They touch 4 random cards, you strip them out, those 4 cards is the 4 of a kind that they named. It's very simple and direct, but gets huge reactions. And it's like the perfect introduction when you want to do a 4 of a kind. Like if you want to do like a 4 ace effect, but you want to use something else other than the 4 aces, this is the perfect introduction to that kind of routine. And I can't stress enough that this is the kind of thing you definitely should put in the work to learn. So once you've learned your stacked deck, the next thing to do is to memorize these quartets, where you're going to be memorizing the interval between the cards for each named card. The stack that I use the 6-hour memorized stack, the Joyle stack. Most of these quartets start with clubs. There's only 2 exceptions, which are diamonds. So for me, it's really easy to remember which card I have to cut to because of that. But depending on the stack that you use, it may be totally different. And in the book, Pitt Hartling goes over in detail the numbers of the intervals using the mnemonica stack in there, as well as I think the Aronson stack too. He also goes over in here. He does show you that as well. So I would highly recommend that to you. And just like before, studying these quartets helps you solidify your stack in your mind. So anyone who really is a student of memorized card magic should seriously take a look at this book. I cannot really recommend it enough. I give this a 5 out of 5 stars, and you guys can see that I never sold this back. After having this for 4 years, I still hold on to it and keep it as part of my permanent magic library for a reason. I think there's so many other good routines in here, but I'm going to leave it to you to discover them on your own. I just tell you guys the routines that I've used most often than any other from this book. I hope that I have answered any questions that you guys may have about the book. If you have any other questions or comments, please just leave them below. Thanks as always for tuning into my magic reviews, and I'll see you guys on the next review.